Former counterterrorism, quote, official Joe Kent claimed there was no imminent threat from Iran, but we found just a few months ago, even Joe Kent himself disagreed with his own assessment, even calling the threat of Iran an existential threat. Take a look.
Since the Iranian Revolution in 1979, when radical jihadis essentially took over the government of Iran and they declared war basically on the West, but they also declared war on the vast majority of the Sunni Gulf states. And so what Kushner and what the Trump administration did was they came in and they said, look, you guys actually have a common enemy. Iran is an existential threat to both Israel. It's an existential threat to the oil-producing Arab Gulf countries. And so that was the genesis of the Abraham Accords.
Most Americans aren't aware of it. Our troops in Iraq and Syria have been attacked 150 plus times by Iranian proxies.
We should not sit and wait for the next attack, wipe Iran's ballistic capability out, and oh, that came from him. And yet another blow to Kent's reputation, along with the reputations of a handful of other on-again, off-again attention seekers, isolationists, Democrats. Today, the CIA director, Ratcliffe, testified that the threat from Iran was immediate, confirming what Steve Witkoff, who was in the room with the Iranians, said as well. Here to respond, former FBI director, Fox News contributor Dan Bongino. You know, Dan, you and I share a very similar way of thinking. When I heard you say that this guy saw what you saw, and there's no way he can make the conclusion that you've come to and the president came to, and except for two people that I know of around him came to as well, that it was an imminent threat. And Steve Witkoff, what he said.
Well, Sean, I could make the case to you that, and strongly, I saw a lot more. Listen, forget it. Say you're out in the listening audience or viewing audience out there and you just don't like me. Fair enough. It's a republic. You're allowed to like or dislike whoever you want. You don't find it odd that nobody else has come out? I like you too, buddy. I've known you a long time. But listen, I'm not everybody's flavor ice cream, okay? Why has no one else from the administration, if his case is legitimate, that this was not an imminent threat, don't worry about the death to America mullahs with 440 kilograms of enriched uranium that could create 10 or more nuclear bombs, while you got a theocracy chanting, again, death to America, even if that was correct, how come no one's backed him up? Sean, listen, I've got no dog in the fight anymore outside of the fact that I just love the country and was proud of my service there. I'm not in the administration anymore. I promise you, no one, absolutely no one, you have my word on my eyeballs. No one has called me and said, hey, can you go out there and like back us up? I have no dog in this fight other than the truth. I saw the entire body of intelligence up until I left. Nobody kept anything from me. I don't know what he's talking about. Can I just make a quick analogy for people having a hard time understanding this? Because I've seen it in a lot of media coverage, and it's understandable. We're getting lost on the word imminent. There's a whole bunch of like euphemisms games going on right here. Think of it this way. I live in Florida. You've got a hurricane brewing offshore, okay? Is it imminent? Well, maybe like 4 or 5 days away. You've got 99% of meteorologists telling you it's going to be a Cat 5. We deal with this like every year, right? What do? Do you prepare for it? You just say, you know what? I'm going to trust that 1 out of 100 guy who says it may be a Cat 3, because no one's saying it's not going to happen. That is what we're getting lost in, this word, and it's just insane. I mean, if you were in a criminal case trying to prove intent, they're screaming death to America. They have nuclear material. They told Steve Witkoff they're not backing away. They have no intentions of surrendering. They were offered a civilian nuclear program by Donald Trump. They were offered 1,000 exits off the Long Island Expressway, and they took none of them. That was for you, Sheldon. Well, formerly. They're not taking any of the exits. In Florida.
Yeah,
I know.
I know. Here, can we address something? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish, bud.
Yeah, the point is, like, he gave them basically 10 years of off-ramps, and they took none of them. So when they're telling you what they want to do, we want to create a nuclear weapon and kill you, I strangely have a tendency to believe them, given their history of terrorism and actually killing our people.
All right. Let me put to rest something else. We've known Donald Trump, both of us, for a long time. I've known him for over 30 years. You know, there's two false narratives out there. One is that Donald Trump is doing the bidding of other people or other countries. I've known the guy 30 years. He listens to everybody, listens to every point of view, and then he's a man of his own mind. Good luck trying to talk him out of something that he's going to do, period. Number one. Number two, that he's out of touch with his base. No, he's not. This is in keeping with what he did with ISIS. This is in keeping with what he did with Soleimani, Baghdadi, Midnight Hammer, and now Epic Fury. So I'm just a little tired of the outright lying and the propaganda and people with agendas and people chasing clicks and algorithms, which I guess equals money in their world. I don't know what their motivation is. Do you?
Sean, this is cowardly by these people who you mentioned who are doing this, because what they do is they call out Donald Trump's entire cabinet and circle of friends and advisors, but they never call out Trump because they know they'll get crushed like a bug. They know it, and then the grift dries up. Then the money dries up. So what they do is, because they have no balls, you say it again, no balls, grow a pair. They don't want to take him on directly because he will crush them. So they go about attacking everyone else. They do this all the time. And this, I call this the Donald Trump has no agency theory. Like Donald Trump doesn't have the ability to think for himself. You've known him longer than I have. I had the pleasure of working for him. You don't know jack squat about this guy if you think he's getting dog walked around by anyone. He's the one walking the damn dog, I promise.
That's what I love about Dan Bongino. Dan, we have been friends a long time, and we always appreciate you coming on. Thank you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.